to the Middle East, which included stops to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE, striking a tone of peace through strength and welcoming new investment. And earlier today, the president made sure to visit with our brave service members stationed in Qatar. Watch.
The American people never forget that our service members and their families make incredible sacrifices each and every day so that all Americans can be safe and be free. And we love our amazing military families. Our military families are as good as you can get. The men and women here today are part of a noble tradition of service that has been passed down from one generation of Americans to the next. And your spirit and courage and sacrifice has always been there when we needed you the most. You're always there when we need you the most.
It's a welcome shift for the region and also a warning sign to America's adversaries that if you stand in the way, there will be consequences. And meanwhile, in Washington, the Supreme Court today heard oral arguments in what's expected to be a landmark case on birthright citizenship. Take a look.
The argument's going to be, what did the founders intend when they came up with birthright citizenship? This administration says it's an emergency now. It's completely out of control that people come here, have no legal status, and then have a child that's a complete U.S. citizen. They say it's got to stop. This president made it a priority on day one to issue that executive order. It may be a while before we know if that order survives on the merits, but we may get to those nationwide injunctions much sooner.
So there's a lot to cover at home and abroad. And for all of it, we bring in columnist for the Daily Signal and author of The War on History, Jarrett Stepman. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you very much. It's good to be back on with you.
Yeah, happy to have you back on the program. So President Trump is on a blitz, essentially, across the Middle East, and also had some moving remarks to our U.S. military stationed in Qatar. What's the big picture message that you're seeing?
Well, first of all, it's great to see President Trump with the troops like that. I think there's been a very clear surge in confidence in the military. There's been a huge surge in recruitment in the last year. The Army now has seen 85% of its recruitment numbers for the year. That's a big deal, especially after years where that was actually declining very much. I think there was a lack of confidence from many of the young men who typically join the military. I think Trump is reinvigorating that, so that's great to see. But I think this trip itself has been a smashing success so far. I think Trump is changing the way the U.S. does business in the Middle East. You saw the welcome reception for President Trump. We never saw this under Biden. It's remarkable, actually, how well-liked President Trump is liked among many countries that at some point were considered adversaries of the United States. And I think his message, which is a very strong one, which is our message is that we want commerce, not chaos in the Middle East, that Trump is going to have deals with the countries that want to have peace, that want to have a bright a future, a partnership with the United States. We're willing to do that. But if you're an agent of chaos, if you're the Houthis, if you're Hamas, or if you're, especially if you're in Iran and you want to cause trouble in the Middle East, you're not going to be a part of that future. And I think that's the message, the overall message that he's sending with this trip, which I think is huge. I think it's such a huge message in the entire region and the world.
And of course, there's a lot of work to do, to undo essentially the damage under President Biden. What does history tell us about, what the goals should be for this region and what might be the next steps in this realignment?
Yeah, it really is a realignment. Of course, the idea of peace in the Middle East, maybe seemed absurd even just 10 years ago. But we saw, starting from Trump's first term, back in 2017 with the Abraham Accords, getting countries to come together, getting many of Israel's rivals in the Middle East. Israel, of course, has been a long-standing ally of the United States, but getting some other countries that were potentially hostile to be aboard an economic future partnership, a military, an economic partnership. We've seen this now with the increasing cooperation with Israel and Iran, and even in the case, which I thought was quite remarkable, that Trump is trying to bring even the new government in Syria into the Abraham Accords. That is a huge deal. It's a very bold move, of course. This is a country that was, of course, led by a very strong rival of the United States, an ally of Iran, that has changed dramatically. Now, of course, there are questions about what that new regime is going to be about, but the Trump administration is coming into this with a lot of leverage. I mean, the recognition of the United States is a big deal. We have a lot to offer. And we want those that new regime to be a peaceful one with its neighbors. And I think that will be backed up by American might and the might of our many partners and allies. So again, this is a strong message for something different for a region that has been in turmoil basically as long as I've been alive. Something that's, I think, a part of Trump's larger global grand strategy. So I think there are many moving pieces with this. It's not just about the Middle East, but getting this region to be more stable has been a big part of that goal. And I think he's done a great job. It's incredible the amount of energy in the last few days and the amount of deals that have been made, economic deals that'll secure that future, have been quite remarkable. Something to be celebrated for sure.
And on the issue of immigration, we're once again seeing liberal hypocrisy in full view. You have a new piece with the Daily Signal on why some refugee resettlement groups are changing their tune. What's the very latest?
Yeah, this is quite remarkable. So this story is about a group of people, the Afrikaners in South Africa. They're essentially white farmers whose ancestors go back 400 years to some of the migration that happened in South Africa, actually descendant of Dutch who arrived there a long time ago, who have been preyed upon not only by their neighbors. It's a country that is filled with a lot of crime, but even by their own government, and it's seemingly for racial reasons. I mean, you had the South African government that is very much angry about these people deciding to potentially leave the country. You have a Trump administration that has been willing to welcome these people as refugees to the United States. Not very many. I mean, really just only a few dozen. I think that's quite different than how things were under the Biden administration. But I think you now see, especially coming from the left, a lot of anger toward these people coming to the United States, which I think belies the fact that they really just don't like these people coming to America because of the color of their skin, that is really the issue here. The left was all about refugees for a long time. They, of course, excused every kind of bogus asylum claim under President Biden. But now suddenly they are melting down because we let in about 60 people from South Africa who have some very legitimate problems in their country. That seems to be ridiculous to me. I think it exposes them for what they really are.
And we also saw some big action from ODNI Director Tulsi Gabbard removing some career officials over evidence of politicized intelligence and downplaying the threat posed by Tren de Agua and their ties to the Maduro regime. What did you find out?
Yeah, it was a really curious story. It came out actually just a bit ago about how there was an intelligence service that's saying essentially that there isn't a connection between, well, they kind of couched it in sort of weaselly terms, that there probably isn't a direct connection between the Venezuela government and these gang members coming to the United States, despite the fact that the FBI just a month earlier directly said that there was a connection. So this report sort of comes out. It doesn't really debunk the idea that there is a connection there. But you had a lot of media sources, legacy media, corporate media, basically saying, oh, yes, look, this debunks Trump's assertion that this is an invasion from another country. I don't think the report really did that. I think it was a way for some, might say in the deep state, to try to undermine the administration. But the reality is these people were brought into America. They were facilitated, which was a word that both documents used, and they're coming to the United States and causing chaos. And we've seen the fruits of that chaos here in America. We've seen a lot of crime taking place because of this gang that originated in Venezuela prisons. It's a regime that wanted to see damage to the United States. This is an old playbook. I mean, this goes back to Fidel Castro back in the 1980s, trying to send criminals into the United States. This is the old playbook going again. Clearly was meant to target the United States, and you had an administration with President Joe Biden that was willing to let it happen. I think this new one, of course, has put the foot down, I think, long term. But it's too bad that there are some still within our government who are working on that behalf to try to, I think, stop this process of keeping these people out of the country.
And we're just getting some big breaking news right now that Judge Jeanine Pirro has just been sworn in as interim U.S. attorney for D.C. What's your reaction?
I mean, that's really great. I mean, it was, I think, ridiculous that Ed Martin was torpedoed from this position initially. I mean, there were some opposition, even from Republicans in the Senate, which, certainly Senator Tom Tillis, who decided that he was going to blow up this nomination. But ultimately, I think Trump prevailed on this. He got the person that he ultimately wanted here. I mean, it sort of had to do a switch sort of the last minute, but it's going to get somebody who has good qualifications, somebody that's well known. Now actually getting her into place, I think it's great news. So I know they thought they were going to torpedo the nomination, but that ultimately didn't come through.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. So this has been really great. It's a lot of positive developments. As a former prosecutor, I can appreciate this, and I know she's no nonsense. She's going to do a great job and get it done. She's a very courageous person. Like, we don't play around. But Jarrett, thank you so much. You're fantastic. Tell everyone where they can follow you and read all your amazing articles.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kimberly. You can find my work at dailysignal.com, which is the website I write for. Great work of my colleagues, too, who do a lot of great reporting.
Yes.
We have White House reporting. We have a White House reporter, Elizabeth, who's done a fantastic job. You can also go to my social media, my X account, which is my name at Jarrett Stepman, Jarrett Stepman. That's where you can find the majority of my writing.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to having you on again. And for your future pieces, you're always spot on. You're a great friend to this program, a super talented guy. Jarrett Stepman from the Daily Signal. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Be well, my friend. And coming up, more on all the top legal news with, oh my God, he's back, your favorite lawyer, Mike Davis. But first, free speech is under attack, but Rumble refuses to back down. We have always believed in empowering independent voices, and to Rumble, it matters more than ever. We are excited to offer Rumble Premium, a completely ad-free experience with exclusive benefits for viewers and creators. And it's more than a subscription. It is a stand for free speech. Your voice matters. Join Rumble Premium today. You can get, for a limited time, $10 off an annual plan and just use the promo code KG10. So just visit rumble.com/premium/KG10 and claim your discount today. Again, that's rumble.com/premium/KG10. And meanwhile, New York Attorney General Letitia James continues to feel the heat over an investigation into mortgage fraud. And at a recent town hall event, she had this response when confronted with the facts. Watch.
Is for Tush James. Will you apologize to President Trump for wasting millions of dollars and the state of New York for a witch trial? And how does it feel to know that you will be in prison for mortgage fraud?
Thank you for coming. We want to thank him for coming. We respect all opinions. Everybody knows those allegations are baseless. They're discredited. And so we want to thank him. Our next speaker.
Guilfoyle here, and I'm so excited to introduce the Patriot Lifestyle Benefits Program. With our benefits program, you get a range of lifestyle benefits at an affordable price so you can save money and stay secure. For example, as a member, you will access exclusive discounts with NB Cash Back, so you can save more on your everyday expenses like groceries, restaurants, and even auto services. And with NB Travel, you can experience more but spend less by enjoying deep discounts on flights, hotels, entertainment, and so much more. These benefits are available to you and your immediate family to use anytime, anywhere. We also offer identity theft protection, so you can stay on top of any unauthorized, fraudulent, or illegal activity. And access free and discounted legal services, so you can protect your rights and receive top legal advice without breaking the bank. Plus, enjoy peace of mind on the highway with our roadside assistance program. And even take care of your furry friends with discounts on pet food, toys, medicine, grooming, and even trips to the vet. Our program is designed specifically for America First patriots like you, who understand the importance of letting your dollars reflect your values and supporting companies who support you. And the best part of all of this, our benefits are at below market prices, so you can enjoy all of them while living the Patriot lifestyle to the fullest. So don't miss out. Visit our website at patriotbenefits.net. That's patriotbenefits.net. Thank you again for choosing the Patriot Lifestyle Benefits Program, where real benefits and real savings are our top priority. Join us today and start saving now. And here to react to all of that about Letitia James and so much more, your favorite lawyer and mine, come on, Article 3 Project founder, Mike Davis. Mike, welcome back to the program. Super happy to see you today. I was very excited that you were going to be on. A lot to discuss. And, you know, first I want to tackle this birthright citizenship case that was heard by the Supreme Court today. What are the constitutional questions and what did you make of oral arguments?
Well, it seems like the justices seem a little bit muddled in their thinking on this.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if they're going to decide the broader question of birthright citizenship or if they're going to just deal with nationwide injunctions by these 680 district court judges around the country, many of whom are Democrat judicial activists who are trying to sabotage the will of the American people by sabotaging the duly elected president of the United States. But if you just step back, Kimberly, and talk about birthright citizenship, we had birthright citizenship as part of the 14th Amendment after the Civil War. And the point of birthright citizenship was to make sure that the children of freed slaves had citizenship, right? And so the southern states didn't deprive them of citizenship or otherwise try to undermine the post-Civil War gains that we saw in the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. And there has been a case, the Chinese exclusion case from the Supreme Court, that if you are a lawful permanent resident of the United States and you show loyalty to the United States, like being a lawful permanent resident who's gone through the process, then the children of lawful permanent residents can get birthright citizenship. But that it is just a legal myth that anyone who comes to the United States and has a child, that child somehow gets birthright citizenship. I know that's how people have thought it has worked for the last several decades, but that's not how it works under our law. And so if you have an invading army, they don't have birthright citizenship for their kids. Even you don't have birthright citizenship for ambassadors, kids, foreign ambassadors who are here. And you also, for example, you didn't have birthright citizenship for American Indians. Actually, Congress enacted a law to give birthright citizenship to American Indians. So if American Indians didn't have birthright citizenship under a Supreme Court precedent, why the hell would illegal aliens like Tren de Aragua and MS-13 get birthright citizenship?
It makes no sense, you know? It makes no sense. It's such a good point, and I like the historical reference. More broadly, there seems to be this fundamental belief, you know, inside some factions of the federal judiciary and among Democrats, that America doesn't have a right to control its own borders, which I find to be nonsensical and just absolutely ridiculous. What stands out to you?
What stands out to me is the Supreme Court of the United States with Commanding General John Roberts and 6 lieutenant generals think that they can put an illegal, unconstitutional restraining order, injunction on the President of the United States. You cannot enjoin the President of the United States. You can enjoin officers who work for the President of the United States, but you cannot enjoin the President of the United States. And they've had this injunction on the President of the United States since Good Friday, nearly a month. And they are telling the President, as the Commander-in-Chief, he cannot expel foreign terrorists who have invaded our country. Tren de Aragua, foreign terrorists. They are designated foreign terrorists. And the President has the constitutional and statutory right and duty as the Commander-in-Chief to get Tren de Aragua, foreign terrorists, and MS-13 vicious gang members, the most dangerous people in the Western Hemisphere, the hell out of our country. And the Supreme Court has ordered the President of the United States as Commander-in-Chief to not conduct military operations to expel these terrorists. That is lawlessness, that is arrogance, that is dangerous.
You know, meanwhile, your favorite, you know what's coming, up in New York, AG Big Tish James is feeling the heat amid mounting evidence of mortgage fraud. What do we need to know?
Well, let's talk about that. Remember, Big Tish James, the Attorney General of New York, brought a massive civil fraud lawsuit with a goofball Manhattan Democrat judge, Arthur Engeron, against President Trump, alleging that President Trump somehow committed fraud when he paid back sophisticated Wall Street banks on time, as agreed, with interest. And Tish James says that Trump misrepresented the value of Mar-a-Lago. She says that Mar-a-Lago is only worth $18 million. As we both know, a tennis court at Mar-a-Lago is worth more than $18 million. Right. This is the prime real estate on the planet. It's 20 acres of land that touches both the Atlantic Ocean and the Intracoastal Waterway. I think it's the only piece of land that does that. It's worth at least $500 million, if not $1 billion or more. And she brought this, she went on this campaign. She campaigned on the fact that she's going to get Trump and take him out. Well, Big Tish has her own problems. She is the New York Attorney General. By New York statute, she's required to reside in New York. And she lied on a mortgage application, allegedly, where she has a Virginia residence, a Virginia home that she's claiming as her primary residence. Well, that's not legally possible if you're the New York Attorney General, because you have to live in New York, according to New York statute. So the Eastern District of Virginia should open a criminal investigation on Big Tish for mortgage fraud, because, as she says, nobody's above the law. And we would love to see Big Tish's fat ass go to prison, as I said, right after the election.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
And now a message from our sponsors. Yeah. Roll the Bowflex commercial. Yeah. All right. So dead. Politically, do you think the governor and legislators in Albany, stand up for her? I mean, I don't even this is so insane and corrupt. Realize that the ship is going down. Yeah.
The USS Big Tish is going down. I would say that the New York...
I think you're her favorite person, by the way.
Good. So remember, the New York legislature is apparently going to use New York taxpayer funds, $10 million in New York taxpayer funds, to pay for her personal legal bills for her personal alleged criminal fraud in Virginia.
Improper.
I don't know how the heck that happens, but
I don't
that seems like a misuse of government funds. But here we are. Look, if she lied on her mortgage application and said that this was her primary residence, when it is legally impossible for it to be her primary residence as the New York Attorney General, this seems like a slam dunk case. And maybe, President Trump's talking about reopening Alcatraz. Let's make Big Tish James the first inmate at Alcatraz.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine? That's better than any Netflix special. All right, and by the way, aren't we awaiting an appellate decision in the civil fraud case against the president? Where does that stand?
Yeah, I mean, they remember what did they get, a $500 million verdict against President Trump for the non-fraud of paying back sophisticated Wall Street banks on time as agreed, with interest. And then that goofball Manhattan judge, Arthur Engeron, tried to let Big Tish immediately start collecting on the judgment. Apparently she was going to go sell Mar-a-Lago to collect on the judgment. That the New York Appellate Division had stayed that and lowered the bond to a significantly lower bond, but it's still a ridiculously high number. I think it's still $150 million, but it's not $500 million, right? And so I think it's going through the appellate division now. I think the appellate division is actually going to side with President Trump, as they should, even though there are a bunch of Democrat activists on the New York appellate division. This is such an egregious case. And really think about this. If you're going to invest in New York, why the hell would you do this? If you can have these barbarian politicians and judges come up with these bogus legal theories to destroy your business, you would never invest in New York. So this is so much bigger than Donald Trump. This is about the well-being of New York. Do you want businesses there or not?
Yeah, and Judge Jeanine, it's really true. It's about the economy there, et cetera, and so super important to get that revitalized after all the damage. So Judge Jeanine one of my favorite law dogs, was just sworn in as interim U.S. Attorney for D.C. Let's get your reaction. Liberal heads are exploding.
I love it. I love it. I
know.
strongly supported Ed Martin, but our weak Republican sisters in the Senate couldn't stomach someone who would be bold and fearless like Ed Martin. And so what did they get out of this? They got Judge Jeanine, who is a hell of a lot. She's probably the toughest, most bold and fearless person I know, let alone lawyer. She's a former New York DA. She's a former New York judge. She is the perfect person for this job. And I say the biggest winners are poor Black kids stuck in these crime-ridden neighborhoods because Judge Jeanine's going to clean up D.C. and make D.C. safe again. The biggest losers are going to be these D.C. criminals who have been terrorizing D.C. for the last 4 years under Joe Biden. No,
you're right about that. And let's, for a moment here, because Ed Martin's a great guy. He was a great pick. What will he be doing moving forward?
This is what's so great about this. Ed Martin's going to Main Justice. He's going to be the pardon attorney, number one, and he's also going to run the weaponization working group. So what we've been talking about for years, Kimberly, on your show about this politicized and weaponized intel agencies and law enforcement going back to Crossfire Hurricane, guess what? Ed Martin's on the case. And so he's pretty dogged. He's pretty fierce. He's pretty fearless. And I think he's going to get to the bottom of this, working with people like Kash Patel, the FBI director, and Harmeet Dillon, the head of the Civil Rights Division, and Todd Blanche and Emil Bove and Pam Bondi and Chad Mizell. The president has an all-star team at the Justice Department. They are going to clean up that mess.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to it.
And make the Justice Department pursue justice again.
It'd be so shocking, right? I mean, this is what we're supposed to be doing, all these years, but now we're going to correct it. And give us just sort of, since you mentioned it, the state of play inside Main Justice, what's in store for the next 100 days there? Because people have really been looking at this. I mean, you and I covered it a lot about weaponization of justice, about the lawfare being used that was mercilessly used against President Trump. So people have a keen eye towards what we can expect there.
I think that Attorney General Pam Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the Chief of Staff Chad Mizell and Emil Bove, the number two to the number two, and Kash Patel and Harmeet Dillon, Gail Slater at the Antitrust Division. The president has an all-star team. Stanley Woodward's going there to be the associate. The president has an all-star team at the Justice Department. They've already made tremendous reforms to the Justice Department to get rid of the politicized and weaponized law enforcement, particularly at Main Justice, particularly at the FBI. And they are going to restore the American people's confidence that our justice system is not going to be politicized and weaponized. And that's going to require accountability for what Obama and Biden did to our intel agencies and our law enforcement to go after political enemies. So I would tell them, lawyer up. Justice is coming.
I like that. So what else is the Article 3 project doing to stand up for justice and put this lawfare in its place?
Yeah, we have a lot going on at the Article 3 project. We helped President Trump during his first term confirm his outstanding judges. We defended him over the last 4 years of this unprecedented Republican lawfare. We've been the tip of the spear against big tech to use antitrust to hold them accountable with Andrew Ferguson, the FTC chairman, and Gail Slater, the antitrust head at the Justice Department, Mark Metter at the FTC. We have been helping President Trump pick his judges in the second term, even more bold and fearless judges than he picked in his first term. That was his biggest and most consequential accomplishment of the first term, was the transformation of the Supreme Court and the lower federal courts to the first constitutionalist majority in 90 years. And they may disappoint us from time to time, but overall, can you imagine if Hillary Clinton got to replace Justice Scalia instead of President Trump? And so we're going to build on that in his second term. And we're going to defend President Trump against this ongoing lawfare by these activist judges.
Oh, I know. The whole thing's so crazy. It's just like, and there were still people suing him civilly from January 6th. How do I know? Because we all got the subpoenas, me, Don, Eric. They love to tape them to our front door. It's like the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But guess what? That's being stayed too. So if the president can't be sued civilly, then we don't need to do our depositions right now because the case is, stayed. I mean, so I don't know what these people are doing.
Yeah, I mean, look, we have a new sheriff at the Justice Department, and Pam Bondi, and she is not going to put up with this nonsense. She's not going to put up
for a minute.
She is tough. She's tough as hell, and she is not going to put up with subversion by the FBI or these intel agencies. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen under Todd Blanche and Emil Bove. If you've met Emil Bove, he's a friend, but he looks like a political serial killer. I would not want to cross Emil Bove. So,
oh my God, I love this.
The president has a fantastic team, and they are going to restore justice at the Justice Department.
I love that. And we talked about it a lot. We prayed for it. We hoped for it. We were very vocal about it. So thank God it's actually happening. And just in general, just reflect for a moment, president's first 100 days overall, and now, into the second 100 days, what you liked, what you've seen, and what you would like to see, coming up next.
I think that President Trump is hitting home run after home run after home run on everything he's doing. Remember the first time. He had never run for office. He had never served in office. He accomplished a lot in his first term, but he's had 4 years in office. He's had 4 years to reflect, and he's had 4 years to face his opponents who tried to bankrupt him, who tried to throw him in prison for life for non-crimes, who tried to take off his head when they underfunded his Secret Service protection. We saw this time President Trump was ready to govern and govern decisively on day one. He's making outstanding personnel decisions, starting with Susie Wiles as his White House chief of staff. She is an awesome chief of staff. He clearly respects her. He clearly adores her, and she is doing a phenomenal job. You're not seeing the leaks out of this White House because I think that they know that Susie Wiles will crush them if they leak and undermine the president of the United States. Yes, absolutely.
Sick of that. We saw, unfortunately, the first term, we saw the leaks and all the problems, and she's really taking care of that. And I imagine that she made it through this whole campaign with all of these, legal cases, lawfare against President Trump, craziness, and she was like the steady hand at the helm.
She is tough as nails. I really respect her, and I think the president has assembled an all-star cabinet, and they are making bold and fearless reforms on behalf of the American people. The president has a broad electoral mandate, 312 electoral votes, all 7 swing states, the popular vote. He's doing what he promised American voters he would do. That's unthinkable in Washington, but he's cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. He's securing our border, and he's getting these illegal immigrants, all of whom are criminals, particularly these vicious terrorists at Tren de Aragua and MS-13, getting them the hell out of our country.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, they have no right to be here. We don't cry for them. Send them out. Nayib Bukele's got the stomach for it. Put them all in his beautiful maximum security prisons, and that's that. Bye. And what I love too is you're never getting back in this country, ever. Yeah. That's it.
Adios, amigos.
Bad hombres.
Exactly. Well, if the 7 generals on the Supreme Court will allow the president to do his job as the commander-in-chief and secure our border and protect our country, but we have these 7 generals, so who knows how they're going to roll.
Let's see, but if not Alcatraz for Fanny, maybe she can go over to El Salvador.
Be a great place for her. They could put her to work, and down in that prison would be perfect.
Oh, perfect! What a great fit. Okay, Mike, tell us everything. Where they can go to find you, et cetera, what you guys are working on again right now, because we're all in.
Our article3project.org, article number 3project.org. Follow us on social media, donate, but only what you can afford, and then take action. Action. We're trying to get President Trump's nominees confirmed, and we're trying to hold the bad actors accountable, particularly big tech, Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple.
All right, fantastic. Mike Davis, God, we love you. So fun. All right, thank you so much, friend. Look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
All right, my closing remarks are just ahead, but also be sure to check out the good folks over at the 1775 Coffee Company. We talk about it all the time. Don't compromise on taste, quality, or your values. And 1775 Coffee is brewed to perfection, crafted with precision, and built on patriotism. The farm-to-cup process means there is quality, authenticity, and sustainability from start to finish. All the beans are ethically and exclusively single-sourced. So why not try 1775 Coffee today? You can go to 1775coffee.com/KG for 15%. Come on, guys, off your first order. Sounds good to me and tastes even better. In closing, we are making major strides to get this nation back on track and to make the world a more peaceful and a safer place. To do that, we need bold, strong, and decisive leadership. And that's exactly what we're getting with President Trump. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to be with you. And please be sure to download the Rumble app, subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, okay? Like and share and tell all your friends so they know exactly where to find us. And please also be sure to follow me across all platforms, X, Truth Social, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Stay tuned to Rumble for all the very latest big breaking news coverage. And please don't miss Don Jr.'s big show at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight.